We're live now.
Awesome.
I don't know
Hello
if
there, Mr. Bastards. How are you?
good. Did you get the same problem I did on Twitter a few days ago? Unreal. Unreal.
With what?
So many third-wave feminists were just like dog, like what do you call it? Dog piling. Because I like Bowie, and apparently because I like Bowie, it means I'm a rape apologist.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I did have an argument with someone about David Bowie because in his youth he supported fascism,
I know.
and I
Yeah.
made I think a series of very good points as to why he was either not a fascist and was just saying something edgy as rock stars tend to,
Yeah.
or was drugged off his face because his support of female musicians and vocalists, his support of ethnic minority musicians and vocalists, and the fact that he was involved in an interracial marriage suggests to me he's either not a fascist or doesn't know what fascism is.
Yep.
But there you go. But I didn't know about this rape apology bit. That's the new one I'm gonna have to say.
This week has been rather interesting with the videos where I've selected, because it seems that the anarcho-capitalists and the alt-right are going into some warfare with each other.
Fine. That's absolutely grand.
We're first going to start off with a little a person you pwned a while ago.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not going to say who it is because his let's just say it involves a wandering cauldron.
Oh, okay, I know who we're talking about.
Yep.
Jesus. No, I'm only joking.
Get this started, and here we go. Here we go.
Just look at him. Before you even started, just look at him. The cheesiest shit-eating grin. I just want to slap his fucking face.
It's so true.
It is the opinion of Chapin's Inferno, a wandering cauldron of politically incorrect commentary, that alt-right is right. Yeah, I answer to libertarian, I'll answer to conservative, rightist, that's anti-statist, anti-socialist. All those things are me.
Well, I want to stop right there. I got into a fight recently, not a fight, but like an argument with Jordan Owen on Twitter, saying that libertarianism and the alt-right are two different schools. Like Ayn Randism is different from alt-rightism.
At that point, it becomes almost like you're disappearing up your own arse when you start debating those kind of things. You're just navel gazing. It's happened on the left a lot, hasn't it? With this type of leftist or that type of left, or anarcho, this and that. And you just think, is that really the point? If you're just gonna, and this is the point for me. I mean, I talk about labels and stuff, and that I think they're broadly speaking quite important. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, what's more important, actually trying to affect some sort of change in the world, or deciding whether you're an anarcho-capitalist fucking syndicalist or whatever? You fucking care?
Yeah, I tagged you in that group recently. What do you think of the debate group?
Oh, the ANCAP versus ANCOM or whatever it was. Yeah, it's been. I've seen some of the posts from the people there, and it's quite interesting actually. It's good to see, even if sometimes it's a bit trolly, as one might expect, to see people from differing sides actually talking about stuff. Even if you know very few people are going to be convinced by any of it, it's still important that you understand someone else's point of view.
Now back to shit muncher, as you called him.
But the thing that I always liked about the phrase alternative right is we have a right in our country. No, it's not as bad as in Britain.
You have the right to be right.
Hey.
Completely useless. But we have a right in our country that doesn't want to fight. And fighting back and calling the left what they are and having a muscular defense.
I suspect America's gun problem would suggest otherwise.
I know.
I think in America, you've got a right that's all too fucking welcome, all too okay with fighting.
I know. I was wondering, like, this. I remember the Bernard Chapin in one video said he has been audited like 50 times by the IRS. I'm just wondering, what are you doing wrong? The guy said he doesn't even work.
Exactly. Look, I would suggest to you, Mr. Chapin, that you pay your fucking taxes. I mean, that would be one way of stopping that problem.
Exactly.
Just a thought.
You saw the video I'm talking about, right? I remember when you saw the video I'm talking about, right?
Which one? Oh, no. So I probably did in my research for his Descent of Manosphere, still available on my channel.
I was an open letter to IRS.
Wow. I vaguely recall it, but I can't say I remember it specifically. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. Like, as much as you might think that it's taxes are violent or whatever particular buzzword fucking bullshit phrase you can pluck out of Ayn Rand's arse, just pay your taxes, or you'll get audited all the time, and eventually you'll end up in fucking prison. You know what I mean? And you won't even be able to vote for an anti-tax candidate then, because you'll be in fucking jail.
Civilization, for me, that's what it's about, and that's what I consider being on the alternative right. Not acting like a punk for the left or a cuck for the left. That's what we're doing. We're not going to. We point out, and the second thing is the honesty.
What he just said last night reminded me of something. Did you see Paulie Lamb debate Roosh last night?
No, but it's something I'm definitely going to have to catch up on, because that sounds like it sounds basically like a pile of cat shit and a pile of dog shit arguing.
Pretty much.
Amazing.
You don't have to agree with all those guys. I'm aware of some people that would be under that label that I disagree with about several things, but that doesn't matter. What we don't respond to things in a politically correct way. So you don't.
People who say that, basically, that what they're saying is, basically, I can't get through an argument without saying something homophobic or racist.
But you're not allowed to say that. I'm not going to be with you. I don't want to associate with you. You listen to people. They may have truths that you don't want to acknowledge right now, or they may be saying things that aren't true. But you want to listen to people. You don't want to categorically.
Pause that for a second. Yeah. He does this fucking bizarre thing, and again, I've watched so many of his awful videos in research. He does this weird thing where basically anyone who disagrees with him, he calls a cuck. So this idea that basically what he's saying here, to break it down for people, is if you agree with me, don't dismiss me, talk to me, come around to my opinion. Basically, agree with me, or I'll call you a cuck. To the point where he calls a voice for men a voice for manginas.
He made a video like that 2 days ago.
He's a fucking farcical character. Really.
I heard on I saw on a chain board recently, like a screenshot was going around Twitter that Bernard Chapin and Dean Esme are going to into court for some stupidity.
Where's the link? Apparently, I've given out the wrong link. Sargon of Akkad, of all people, who apparently was fucking busy, has just said that I've given out the wrong fucking link. So do we have a proper link for this fucking thing? Apologies to everyone for being so fucking ludicrously unprofessional. I don't know how to do this properly.
I got it. Sorry, I said we gave the wrong link, right? I'm trying.
Yeah. So Sargon's just going. You tweeted the wrong too. Oh God! Don't you have some charities to not be giving money to? You can't.
Got it. Got the link.
Well, do you want to put that in the chat for me or something? And
Yeah.
I'll
put it to your Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. Apologies to everyone for this. Basically, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That's the thing. If you take anything away from all of my internet activities, know this: I am totally incompetent.
I also am on the same page. Like if I didn't honestly I'm like the younger version of Dick Hoffman of how bad I am with technology, like Google Plus and all this crap.
Yeah, true. But I mean, to be fair, have you had as many of your potential children aborted as Dick Hoffman? No. That's the bigger picture, really. Okay, well, I'll tweet back to Sargon. Fuck you, you prick. Yes, okay. So I'll just if we continue, and I can tweet and listen because I can multitask because I've got no testicles apparently.
I'm fucking roundabout with this. This guy's logic is such a creationist. It really is. Not Sargon, it's Bernard Chapin. This.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we have you tweeted it, right? You got it.
Yeah. We can carry on. It's all good. Apparently.
Reject them and say this is a very small party. This is a very small tent. You're not allowed to think things like that. One of the reasons that the alternative right appeals to me is because there are no thought crimes on the alternative right, and that
you're allowed to be as racist as you like on the alternate right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Basically, fuck other people.
Like the Republican Party, which has people like Paul the Cuck Ryan and John Boehner, even though he's gone.
I don't get why the GOP is like Paul Ryan. I find it so bizarre.
Well, they're so far to the right that they've basically disappeared off the political spectrum.
I know.
Like, imagine when people thought the Earth was flat. They've travelled so far, they've literally fallen.
There are flat earthers on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there are some mad fuckers. What's his name? The Swedish guy. I can't remember his fucking name. He does some. Was it called something like the Flat Earth Debunked or something? It's fucking brilliant. And I mean, it doesn't really need to be said because I think most people aren't crazy enough to believe it. But there's like a lot of things, isn't like with Holocaust Memorial Day. It's not that necessarily people have forgotten it exists, but you need to reinforce in people's minds.
Well, I try to remember. There's never like at this point the GOP in America is like so off the map. They're like anarcho primitives. They want to go back to hunter-gatherer society in obscurity. Yeah,
what do they call something like primordial conservatives or something?
Yeah, they're big. They're big out in the upstate New York. Like in the
that's the rich bit, is it?
No. The rich bit, it's like upstate is like more like where the factories are, like kind of like in the middle, like the primordial like green like anarchists who are really right wing or like really up towards the Canadian border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you got this guy.
One of the biggest cowards I've ever seen in my life. We fight verbally, yes, non-violently, yes, but we fight the left. We don't roll over for them. We fight them, and that's why it's an alternative, and that's why I like the term alternative right. And I'll see you soon.
Lovely, absolutely lovely.
And this is what he does, right? And you'll see. Again, having done research for it, he'll do like 4 or 5 videos in a relatively short period of time, and they're all like 2 or 3 minutes long. And he does this purely for financial reasons, because you get so much per view and per click on the thing in terms of AdSense and all of that. And so rather than doing one video of 20 minutes, he'll sit there and presumably films it all in one go because he's wearing the same clothes and it's like clearly the same day, and he cuts it up into 5 fucking videos. Like, what a prick. I mean, I've got no problem with people like if you want to film it all in one go, but you release it over the course of several days and it's about different things. That's fine because you're just being efficient with your time. But basically, what you're trying to do is shit on people with crappy, often clickbaity fucking content.
I actually am going to go to see the Myelinopolis speak in 2 weeks.
Yeah, where is it? I presume it's somewhere near New York, considering that's where you're from.
It's an hour outside the city. I'm gonna go. Apparently, some other YouTubers might be showing up.
Oh, cool. Good YouTubers or Milo YouTubers?
No, like I'm not gonna say who because it's not been confirmed. But it's I don't know. But a few other YouTubers in the New York area said they're gonna show up.
Oh, cool. I obviously, I'm not going to say, look, I hope it gets shut down because I think that would be crazy. Yeah. But I hope they do. I love that thing they did in what was the fucking, I can't remember. Anyway, where they all turned up and then as soon as they started talking, they just emptied the auditorium.
I know.
So the person just stood there talking to nobody. That would be funny.
This next clip is from 2 weeks ago, or like around. It's from a few like 2 years ago apparently. It says like 2013, right when it passed Obamacare. It's Rand Paul and Bernie Sanders demanding free healthcare, but Rand Paul jumps the shark so much it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Waiting for it, and we got it.
Let me ask you this, in a sense, philosophical question.
Communist!
I believe, many people in my own state believe that healthcare is a right, R-I-G-H-T, regardless of income, that every American has the right to the best quality healthcare that the system can offer regardless of income. That if you're a low-income kid, you're a wealthy kid, you have the same opportunity to access the healthcare system. Do you believe that?
I believe that every person ought to get good health care. And
I love the name Dr. Eck.
I know, Dr. Eck.
Eck is a surname. That's all.
I know.
So I definitely believe that people need health care.
Give the mic over to Senator Paul.
Thank you very much. With regard to the idea of
them next to each other, that's amazing planning.
I know.
Thought, that's like the fucking piss-taking wedding planner. Let's sit the two people who are most likely to shout at each other.
Wait till he says it. This is unreal.
You have to realize what that implies. It's not an abstraction.
Also, look how much that girl in the background looks like Grumpy Cat.
My house and conscript me. It means you believe in slavery. It means that you're going to enslave not only me, but the janitor at my hospital, the person who cleans my office, the assistants who work in my office, the nurses. If you have a right to their services, basically once you imply a belief in a right to someone's services, do you have a right to plumbing? Do you have a right to water? Do you have a right to food? You're basically saying that you believe in slavery. You're saying you believe in taking and extract.
It gets even more insane. It gets so insane.
Yes, I'll answer the good senator's fucking points. Yes, people have a right to food and water.
Yes.
Call me fucking crazy.
Exactly. Wait.
I don't think in the richest. I'm speaking now of America, the richest nation, that this group of sentient apes on this one rock swirling in the fucking solar system have ever produced. The richest nation by far that planet has ever produced. Right. I don't think you should be allowing your citizens to die of thirst or hunger. Call me mad.
Wait till what Rand passes. It is insane.
It gets worse than it's already been.
Yes.
We're very clear about this. You have a right to pursue happiness, but there's no guarantee of physical comfort. There's no guarantee of concrete items. In order to give some concrete or someone's surface, you got to take it from someone. So there's an implied threat of force. If I'm a physician in your community and you say you have a right to health care, do you have a right to beat down my door with the police, to escort me away and force me to take care of you? That's ultimately...
No. Obviously, you fucking plum. What are you talking? No.
It just shows the paranoia and
if the doctor doesn't want to treat me, he doesn't have to treat me. But a doctor does somewhere down the line, because if not, we're going to die.
Exactly.
We're not saying right there, right then, that specific doctor has to do it.
I know.
We're saying there's a healthcare system which, if you want to work in, you have to treat the people in it.
This clip just shows the paranoia from like the Stefan Molyneux bots and the Sargon, like not Sargon, but like certain people in Sargon's audience and the Milo Yiannopoulos fan base. It just shows the paranoia in them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, look, if you don't want to treat people, fine, but you're not going to get paid the same as a doctor would, because a doctor gets paid to be a fucking doctor. And these people claim to be good on economics. Fuck off.
Exactly.
If you believe in the right to health care, you're believing in basically the use of force to conscript someone to do your bidding. Now, just
no. The same point again, but I just want to reach in and slap his little face.
The way he worded it's like the way a doctor the way he's wording it, how a doctor treats you is like you're like a Frankenstein's monster on a table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, if you don't want to treat someone, fine, but you're not a doctor then, are you? You're just an unemployed dude.
Believe that we are obligated as Christians. We are obligated to the Hippocratic.
She really does look like Grumpy Cat. I'm sorry. I know it's not the big important issue, but she looks like Grumpy Cat.
Have always done since the beginning of modern medicine. We have always provided 100% access. I do it in exchange for privileges. I do it because I believe in the Hippocratic Oath, but my hospital also says to me, you can only opeate in this hospital if you agree to see everyone coming through the emergency room.
That's what the Hippocratic Oath is, you cunt. Part of the Hippocratic Oath is, I'm not going to randomly let people die because they're poor. He doesn't mention the poor bit, but he doesn't have to. It's exactly. Try and do what you can to keep as many people alive as possible. The Hippocratic Oath, nowhere in it does it say, fuck it, they're poor, let them die. That's definitely not a part of it.
I know.
We have always had 100% access through our emergency room. Those were for emergencies. They're not the best place for primary care. We all agree with that. But we've always had 100% free access.
I think it's fair to say that Senator Paul and I have some slight philosophical differences. My profound,
the most polite way of putting that I've ever heard. That is delightful.
Krause, is do you, as an employee at a federally qualified health center, consider yourself as a slave?
Burn, literally.
I chose to work there. I do not feel like a slave. Thank you.
Is Draper. The implication, again, from my friend Senator Paul, is that we have kind of solved the problem of healthcare access in America. That any place in the country, I guess, anybody who has a problem, if you're on Medicaid, if you have no health insurance, maybe if you have health insurance, you just walk in the door tomorrow and find a doctor to treat you. Is that true? In your judgment?
Well, there's a huge body of literature that discusses the difficulties, particularly Medicaid beneficiaries have to finding a physician. There are many physicians who are unwilling to accept Medicaid patients, and also for those who are uninsured, face equally challenging or maybe more so challenging access issues.
All right, my last question is for Dr. Krauss. Again, picking up on Senator Paul's comment. As you know, Vermont is moving toward a Medicare for all single-payer approach. Are you worried that if we consider healthcare as a right in the state of Vermont, that the St. Johnsbury Police Department in the middle of the night is going to break down your door and force you to treat them? Is this an immediate concern? Thank you.
That's delightful.
All for being here.
That was amazing.
I'm still not voting for him because I'm not legally entitled to. But apart from that, I'm definitely voting for him. That's beautiful. But oh God, that kind of right-wing nonsense just annoys me because it doesn't hold up to any reality at all. It's such shite.
We're going to play a little left-wing nonsense. It makes sense, but into the constructs of it being applied to both the alt-right and the extreme SJWs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not. We're not ideologues here at Watching Shit. As an aside, I do agree. As an ex-smoker, for full disclosure, the hectoring of smokers is pretty bad. Like the fact that you've forced people outside, that should be enough.
Yeah.
Why is it okay, for instance, for people to constantly attack and go after people for the health benefits or the health benefits of stopping smoking? But if you did exactly the same thing to somebody who's, say, obese, that would be seen as socially that wouldn't be a cool thing to do. You'd be shouted down for that in some cases. Whereas being obese is just as dangerous in a number of ways, not necessarily in terms of getting cancer, but in terms of your long-term health prospects.
The weirdest thing last night is that the Young Turks went full MRA last night. I'm not even aware of it.
Really?
Oh yeah, and we're gonna play that right now.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look at this because usually a point I've gone with is that they've been essentially, to use the word again, ideologues on the left for far too long. So I'll be interested to see what they've got to say.
A popular YouTuber by the name of Matt Santoro recently released a very public statement on his vlog channel talking about an abusive relationship that he ended back in September. Now, understand that he didn't reveal the name of this individual. There's a lot of speculation as to who the individual is, but the 14-minute long video is something that everyone should watch in its entirety. I'm going to give you more details on it, but first let's take a look at a clip of what he had to say about it.
And this individual that I was with forced me to push everybody out of my life. I pushed my family away. I pushed my closest friends away. And it wasn't always explicit. It wasn't always like push that person away, delete them off social media. Although that was the case, mostly with females, this individual that I was with was extremely jealous, viciously jealous. If I had a female friend, I must have been cheating on her with them. I've been cheating on them the whole time. I had to cut every female out of my life, out of social media, delete every number out of my phone. And it was because everything was made to be about her.
Yeah, this is a classic tactic of domestic abusers, for instance. It's essentially taking away any other support network from that person, so that basically you have to then rely on that only person you have left in your life. So you can't leave. It's horrible. But by the way, to try and bring some light to this, this is what David Sorini would look like if you were attractive.
Exactly.
I lost my closest friends because I was made to believe that everybody else was a loser. Everybody else in my life that didn't agree with this relationship, they're losers. That's why they're saying these things, and you need to cut them out of your life. So I did. Early in the relationship, I had a verbal altercation with this individual where after I had a panic attack one night because I couldn't handle walking on eggshells around this person. So I left an event that I was at and I broke it off with this individual. This person prevented me from leaving their home and said, "You're not going anywhere." At which point I was hit in the face.
Okay, so I have some mixed feelings about this.
Okay.
Okay, but we know who it is. But let Anna give you the details more, and then I'll tell you where I come out on.
So I really want you guys to watch the full video, which of course is too long and we can't show you.
We haven't mentioned who this person is yet. I presume they're doing that for legal reasons.
No, they already named who it is in the video. It's already been, yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, it's Nicole Arbour, isn't it?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Yeah. How do I know?
Yeah, did you find out, or is it, did you who told, like, not who told you, like, where'd you see it, like, article wise? Oh, right. Someone posted me a thing on Facebook last night. Oh, right, yeah.
So it's anyone who watched that, it doesn't strike inauthentic or insincere. You can tell he's hurting. You can tell he's gone through some stuff. And also, he's a man, and it's really, really difficult for men to come forward and talk about their, experience as domestic violence victims, right? Usually it's thought of as a woman's issue, and if you're a man, don't complain about it, don't talk about it because that makes you weak. And he talks about that a little bit.
I want people to understand that's not what my mixed feelings are about.
No, I know.
I agree with him 100%. I believe him 100%.
Yes, okay. I know.
And his partner is a total douchebag.
Yes. So, look, there's a lot of speculation about who it is, and understand that this is not set in stone. I don't want any vigilante justice against this person, but it's well documented that he was dating Nicole Arbour, who was that notorious, terrible person on YouTube who made that Dear Fat People video. And that's what gave her some notoriety, okay?
But she pretty much admits it.
For extra depth to the Nicole Arbour story, she is an appalling person across the board.
Oh, I know.
One of the reasons I haven't made a video about her and have no intention of doing so, because all she's interested in is the attention. And she's the
I thought it was weird how Stefan Molyneux and both Alex Jones made videos about her.
Well, with him, you never know. He's so all over the place, so scattergun. It's impossible to tell where he's going to land on anything, basically.
Which is even weird about this Young Turks video is that they both go full, like, with argumentation, full MRA, like Polly Lamb. Like, it's bizarre.
Okay, well, let's
yeah.
have a look.
Okay, so she said, "Heard the little bitch I dumped months ago is still trying to use me to get attention on his vlog channel. Ew." Okay. She has around 288,000 subscribers on YouTube. He has over or more than 700,000 on his vlog channel, okay? On his other channel, he has 5 million. Pretty sure that he's not looking to get attention by attacking you. And also, he didn't even name you. You're the one who took it upon yourself to come forward and A, call him a bitch while you're trying to claim that you weren't abusive in any way, and B, claim that he's trying to get attention off of you. You're nobody, okay? You're disgusting. You're notorious for being disgusting. And for you to come at him like this just makes me despise you even more.
So Nicole Arbour bragged after she did the Fat People video and then Instagram model video, etc., that, oh, I'm getting all the sponsors now, I'm getting all this attention. So she knows she's doing it for attention. She admits it, that she's saying terrible things about people, like, ha. It's almost like the Donald Trump of YouTube. So now when this person has this heartfelt plea, oh my God, this happened to me, it's terrible, and she's like, hey, you bitch, you're just trying to get attention. No. It's obvious who's trying to get the attention. By the way, it's almost always that way. A smaller, person in media, for whatever reason, I don't mean smaller in terms of who they are or their character, although in this case it fits, but with less subscribers, less viewers, etc., attacks someone bigger and then goes, "Oh, you're just trying to get attention. You're trying to get attention." I'm pretty sure you're the one trying to get attention.
You're trying to get attention, and you're honestly a morally bankrupt person, right? She also brags about, that she does terrible things for publicity. She brags about that, okay, while she does press interviews. So whatever. But she, in my opinion, she is a small part of this story. The big part of the story is there's a huge number of men who are victims of domestic violence and rape, and they don't get taken seriously. The statistics on that are questionable because a lot of them are deterred or reluctant to report it, okay? We need to change the culture because they need to report it. Whoever...
Like, they're saying what Paul Lamb in A Voice from Angina says, but, like, how many people take that, like, are going to take this now seriously? The fact that Young Turk said it before A Voice from Angina has been shouting about it for, like, 5 years.
Well, yeah, I know where you're going with this, and it'd be interesting to see what they say in the rest of the video. But so far, you can't help but agree with what they're actually saying.
I know exactly. You get my thing, like A Voice for Men has been saying it for so long, and then like they're now saying it. Like it's very odd to me. The whole like they're taking it
is. I mean, this is the problem I have with people like A Voice for Men. That you have, because of the extremism they engage in, that it means that very few people listen to the actually good arguments that are put forward by the men's rights movement.
I know.
And so important issues like male domestic abuse victims or male rape victims, mainstream politicians and media and stuff find it very difficult to take those issues forward because essentially they'll be aligning themselves with the people who are talking about that, and the only people that are talking about that, for by and large, are people like, Paul. But because of the rape apologetics, it just gets lost.
Was Mike Buchanan a Tory, right? Was he like kicked out of the party, or like what was with that? Like,
no, his hatred for women extended to the fact that even though David Cameron, who's, for those who don't know, is the British Prime Minister, although I don't believe he was at the time, I think he was leader of the opposition, he came out and said that he was a feminist. Now, he did that in the same way that a lot of mainstream politicians do.
Yeah.
They're not actual feminists. They're just saying it for street cred value. It makes them look like they give a fuck. And as could be pointed out by the fact that in his first cabinet there were more men called David than there were women, which I think shows how much of a feminist he really is. And so Mike Buchanan decided to leave the party. He had been I think previously was he a Tory European candidate or something like that, and went and set up a rather laughable political party called
Dick Hoffman. It's a copyright too.
Called Justice for Men and Boys, and then in brackets, and the women who love them, just to make women feel like even more of an afterthought.
I was dying last year when Dick Hoffman told everyone on YouTube that he bought the copyright for the party.
Yeah, he put j4mb.com. And by the way, that crappy website that Coughlin showed everyone, the WordPress account, is still there. That's still that party's website. Although they do now have, as people who follow Coughlin on Facebook will know, they now have a small blue van type vehicle with advertising on the side.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which my only thought was, how many dead hookers do we think will be put in the back of that eventually? Did
you ever see the video on YouTube to Rent's Too Damn High guy?
Oh yeah, the black guy. I've actually got a T-shirt. My brother bought it for me a couple of years back. It's too small for me now because I'm a fat cunt. But it's got that his face on it with the "Rent's Too Damn High."
He drives around New York City all day in the van, blasting the "Rent's Too Damn High" rap song.
See, that's what you get. In democracies, you get cunts like Donald Trump, but you get some glorious madmen as well. It's lovely. I love that. And it's a good point. The rent is too fucking damn high.
Should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. They should deal with the justice system.
Okay, so now that you brought that aside, in this case, there's no rape at all. Nothing like that is alleged. I was blown away when I found out there are actually more men raped in the country than women, if you take into account prison rape. Mm-hmm. So that's an amazing stat. So obviously, men are also victims. Oftentimes, in this case, it happens to be physical domestic abuse and then psychological abuse. Psychological abuse is where I have my mixed feelings. Mm-hmm. First of all, she hit him. She should be arrested for that. That's assault. The way that this came about is This happened a long time ago. He did this video back in September of 2015. He did not make it public. So obviously he had mixed feelings about sharing it, which is very understandable. But somehow his fans started to find out, wait, you got this private video on there. What's it about? And can't tell if it was accidentally made public, but then when it was made public, he said, that's all right, I'm just going to leave it up.
Right.
Okay. And so that's how we find out about this many months later. Now, he did not press charges. He didn't go in that direction. So that's probably done with, right? Although he could change his mind, I doubt the statute of limitations ran out. On the psychological abuse, it's not that I don't feel for him. I do, and that happens actually a lot.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of people in relationships.
I can sense it with Cenk. There's a point where you just think, okay, I'm with him. Oh, I'm going to punch him in the fucking face.
I was going to say, like, I'm with him. Oh, he denies the Holocaust. Then you punch him in the face.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. You'll always start a segment, and you think, like, oh, okay, this is okay, cool, good. What do you mean the Turks didn't do the fucking Armenian genocide, you cunt? There's always some bullshit. I can't believe I just laughed at him denying the Armenian genocide. I hope people understand.
I know. I can't. I'm done with this guy.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Because I think we all know where he was going there. Frankly,
Matt Forney. You're familiar with
Matt Forney, my old pal Matt. How is he?
Hey there, everyone. Matt Forney here, mattforney.com. And in this video, I want to talk a bit about...
I know, it's fucking ridiculous. For a really long time, I thought Jim Jesus and Matt Forney were the same person.
Well, have we ever seen them in the same room? I certainly fucking haven't.
And left-wing infiltrators. This video was something that had been on my mind anyway, but it's...
You don't have a mind. What are you talking about?
Well, did you see his article he put on Return of Kings? Actually went viral last night. It was like trending for a while.
Oh no, I haven't seen one of his since.
Oh, but apparently
one about the porn star that said that James Dean had raped her, and he said, "Is this real?" Yeah.
It was talking about like not Vice. It was talking about you know the magazine Pitchfork review.
I'm vaguely aware of it. Yes.
They basically just reveal alternative punk music and electronic, basically like indie Williamsburg culture music.
Right. And
he was going out like this horribly written article saying how like the Pitchfork review is implying the genocide of white males.
Oh God! I tell you what I did see. Talking of Return of Kings in the week, do you know the Je suis Milo?
Yeah, Je suis Milo. Yeah.
Ridiculous. For those who don't know, Milo Yiannopoulos is a prick. And because he was a prick and said hateful shit on Twitter, they didn't actually stop his freedom of speech in any way whatsoever, or indeed his Twitter account in any way whatsoever. But they got rid of his, on Twitter, if it's like a famous person, to authenticate it's actually them, they have a blue tick thing, like their recognition thing. He had that removed. Yeah, and so someone started the Je suis Milo, which even if we ignore the hideously offensive nature of him associating himself with the Je suis Charlie thing, it's such a petulant lash out from a child. It's ridiculous. Anyway, he was basically rambling on about this, and he was contacted by, of all people, considering that Milo is a homosexual, Roosh V, the noted incredibly fucking homophobic prick, who's definitely not gay in any way whatsoever himself, obviously, was trying to be pally with Milo.
I know.
It was ridiculous. I just thought, what world am I living in here? I don't know what's going on.
I find really actually peculiar. Like, Miley Knopp was 2 weeks ago following me on Twitter. Did he follow you at all?
No, although he did tweet out my video, which then subsequently got flagged down for bullying him. I don't know how that happens. That's ridiculous. No, I don't. Well, he hasn't followed. Why did he follow you? What did you say?
I never addressed him. I never talked about it. I didn't even tweet him. He just followed me.
Weird. well, basically, I think if when you go there next week or in 2 weeks or whatever, I think you might be in for some Milo dick.
No.
Just putting it out there, bro.
Exactly.
Now, most of you probably know I got into a bit of a spat with Dean Esme, former CEO of A Voice for Manginas, a few days ago.
There it is. There it is, the catchphrase.
What happened was Roosh posted an article on his blog, interview he did with Karen Straw on Girl Writes One. He was asking if it's time for a truce between the
neo-masculinity, the manosphere, and the men's rights movement. And I got no beef with Karen Strawn, but I basically pointed out on Twitter, there's really no compromising with the men's rights movement, because they're effectively owned lock, stock, and barrel by the left now, and they're always going to side with the left. And I have evidence.
I don't know.
You mad bastard. And this is the thing, you know, obviously I mentioned, I genuinely, for those who don't know, I'd never see these videos before I come to do this recording.
Yeah, I know.
And so I didn't know he was going to use that phrase that I used earlier with old prick face. What's his fucking name? I've told you, Chapin, Bernard Chapin.
Yeah.
And they all do this. They've got this little clique, this little alt-right clique of fucking arseholes. And I'll release some early Descent of Manosphere material here. In the intro to this Pricks episode, which I haven't actually begun filming yet, but I will eventually, I'll describe him as Davis Orini's third testicle. Because that's what he is. He's basically the same. They're all the same organism, basically. They are like the Borg. It's ridiculous.
I know. Even like Safamali has like the bald head and everything. Like I've noticed the right wing atheists, they have this like bald head with the right wing Christian fundies. They have this like pyramid shaped hairstyle goes up like Josh Fierstein.
Josh Fierstein's amazing. Josh Fierstein is my favourite prick in the world. He's such a twat. Like everything about him is just, he's so stupid, and his followers are stupid because even though yes, was it $1,500 for a new camera, and he still films him on a camera, and it still hasn't worked out. Unless you turn the camera to the side, it doesn't go. You don't get widescreen on it, so he's still filming it next to two black columns. Like what the fuck? Anyway.
My aunt lives like 2 blocks from his church. He like shouts in the street all the time.
Oh, pardon me. He's New York as well, then, is he?
No, Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh right, I thought you said you live 2 blocks from his church.
No, my aunt does. He's like shouting like day and night on the street. Like it's like he has like his like church is like this like platform in a parking lot where he just gets up with a megaphone to just railing.
That's what I love about living in Britain. You don't get people like that often. There used to be a weird black guy who used to in the centre of Birmingham that used to stand there on like it literally was like an old milk crate.
Yes.
Upturned and stand there outside the big cinema in town, or one of the big cinemas in town, with a Bible, screaming at people that they're all going to hell. Even though he didn't know them, they could have been the most pious people in the world. Exactly. It was just crazy. But other than that, you very, very rarely ever get that kind of people. Whereas in America, they're fucking everywhere.
Everywhere. Oh.
On hearing about the Muslim rape attacks that were happening in Cologne, Germany. Actually, not just happening.
Oh no! Excuse me. If you're going to play by your rules, Mr. Forney, on Return of Kings, he's written about 6 or 7 articles about famous rape incident or alleged rape incidents, and every single time it's always it basically A is the person who's making the appeal, and B or making the accusation, and B is the supposed rapist, and it's always. Is A lying about B raping her every single time without fail. Every famous rape case you've heard of is such and such accusing Bill Cosby or this person or that person. So if we're going to go by your count, fucking Thorny, you little prick, you rape apologist cunt, we should say the alleged rape. How do we know that these 500 women aren't fucking liars? Because they all must be, right?
You know, what's weird about the whole thing about the
for those who want to take those words out of context, go for it. You cunts.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's even weirder about the whole thing with the when the Paris shooting happened?
Which one?
A few weeks ago, before Christmas.
Oh, in November. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just like the whole thing of how Roosh reacted to that was very fucking bizarre, and yet he's now silent for this.
Yeah. It's very strange how that's going. Although I don't know quite why he's so quiet about this, because in his piece,
I know exactly. Yeah, like
that you're referring to, he was after the Paris attack, the most recent ones. I mean, November, rather than the ones in January, the Just Sweet Charlie thing. Yeah. He in that piece he wrote on Return of Kings, he centered around the idea that Europe had sold itself by allowing Muslims in the first place, even though he himself is certainly of Muslim origin. His father's from Iran,
Persia.
as you can tell by his Iranian surname. He Velizadeh. Dariush Velizadeh.
Yeah,
sorry, I was just trying to remember his fucking surname. Anyway, yeah. So he focused on that very thing, which makes it very strange. Then so it makes me think maybe he knows something, or maybe he knows some people involved, or something like that potentially. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories here at all. I'm just saying it seems very strange that he's not talking about this, or it doesn't seem to want to address this enormously, because that was the cornerstone of his point in the first place.
Oh, I know. That I was thinking that like all week. Like, why isn't Roosh talking about this like in some ridiculous asset? Like,
yeah, it seems like this is the absolute wheelhouse for his nonsense. But okay.
Back to foreign, he's ridiculous.
Germany, all across Sweden, covered up by the police. His immediate instinct was to claim that they, quote, didn't fucking happen, and that the rape accusers were liars. That was his first instinct. He was not being...
Who's first instinct?
He's talking about Dean Esme.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yes, he did say that.
The rape victims of lying. And when I pointed this out on Twitter...
Actually, if we can just pause for a second, apologies.
Yeah.
That's an interesting schism within the kind of manosphere, if you will, is that Dean Esme, whilst also being a bit of a racist prick, is not so much of a racist prick that he's prepared to throw Muslim men under the bus. He's prepared to throw white women under the bus because, frankly, they're women. Who gives a fuck? Whereas this guy, he's as sexist as Dean Esme, but he's also more racist. So in this instance, he's willing to believe without the same level of evidence that he would require of rape allegations against white men. He's prepared to believe that Muslim men have raped because on this occasion, his racism trumps his sexism.
You know, there are a lot of studies from showing that like racism and sexism goes hand in hand.
Oh, well, they do. I've always said it, bigotry begets bigotry. Basically, the bigoted mind is my way of life is king. So basically, if I were to be racist, to be a bigoted fucker like these people, you'd have to be white, heterosexual, British, you know, being into the same cultural thing as me, whatever. That's the thing. That it doesn't matter that it's very rare you're going to get a racist who isn't also a sexist.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah.
And who isn't also a homophobe and who isn't also whatever else. You know?
Transphobe or like bigoted or whatever. What else? Add whatever like bigotry there is. The list goes on and on and on.
Oh yeah.
Crying about how I was lying about him and blah, blah, blah. So I decided to rub it in and post his comments on my blog for all to see. There's a link to the post in the description. And again, I wouldn't have done that had Esme just kept his whiny bitch-ass mouth shut. But this is an illustrative example of why there can be no peace between the alternative right, the manosphere, whatever you want to call this part of the internet. And
there could be no peace. I was
there could be no peace, only war.
Yeah, from Independence Day, that bit with the alien, and he's got Brent Spiner up against the window, which for me, by the way, is one of the rare occasions I've ever actually been scared during a movie, even though that's not really that scary. I don't know why, but there's something about him using the man's vocal cords. Oh, it's creepy. Anyway, sorry. Spoilers.
But more importantly, it's an illustrative example of why you should never trust centrists, why you should never trust people who claim to be.
Oh my God! He thinks. Hang on, this is the greatest quote, the greatest Dean Esme quote I ever did, because I briefly researched doing a Descent of Manosphere on him, and I just thought I can't be bothered. I can't be asked. He calls him a centrist, right?
Yeah.
But he said, and this is genuinely a quote from Dean Esme, if I can recall it. I'll say it's a paraphrased quote because I can't remember the exact words. But he said this was during a live hangout from a few years ago. He said that he couldn't vote for Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney was openly gynocentric. And yeah, apparently, according to this fucking bull prick, he's a centrist, apparently, somehow.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
No difference between the right and the left. That viewpoint may have been acceptable in 2008, 2009, maybe 2010, but there's no excuse for it now. Like, for example, people claiming that Obama is just the same as Bush. And I'm not arguing in favor of Bush. He was a terrible president. But under Bush, we did not have gay marriage being shoved down their throats. We did not have transsexuality being shoved down their throats.
You don't know. You have gay marriage.
I know.
But nothing's being shoved down your throat.
Like,
I mean, if you want something shoved down your throat, you know where I am, lad. Let's have some. But if you don't like gay marriage so much, don't get gay married. Simple.
Simple.
Open race baiting in the form of Black Lives Matter, in the form of the Justice Department.
Again, I'm revealing too much about my descent of manosphere, but I have to just get it out there because it's in my fucking head. There's a brilliant bit. There's such a good bit, and it's so ridiculously comical. Where the first Black Lives Matter protest he goes to, right?
Yeah.
He didn't film that one suspiciously, but apparently he was being accosted, and it was something like Black Lives Matter threatened my life or something.
Exactly.
A really overly dramatic thing like that, and they didn't at all. They thought he was an undercover police officer because he was clearly, you know, I mean, not that I'm saying as a white dude you have to try and meld in, but if you're not chanting along with the chants and you're not getting involved, you're just walking next to them in the protest, you're going to stand out. And so apparently someone said, oh, he's a police officer, he's undercover, blah blah blah. And then apparently one of them said, can you smell bacon or something? And so he felt so terrified at this, he ran away, and then he went past because he lives in Chicago, and so he went past like the nearest subway or whatever station to the next one to make sure he wasn't being followed by these black people, even though none of them followed him in the first place. And so he got so paranoid at this that the beautiful thing happened that he wanted to go back and film the other protests that were happening over the next sort of couple of weeks or whatever in the Black Lives Matter thing in Chicago. And he decided to try and blend in. He started chanting along with them, including at one point, and I swear to God, he shouted Black Power.
Well, this jerk off
It's brilliant. It's so funny, seriously. It's amazing.
Whites trying to forcibly move non-whites into white communities, like what's happening in Baltimore with Section 8 ghetto trash being moved into predominantly white suburbs under Section 8 housing vouchers, according to a federal government mandate. We didn't have the open race, like for example, the prosecution of George Zimmerman, and the government continued to hound him for defending himself. We didn't have the
George Zimmerman
followed him and shot a man dead. What?
Oh,
at what point do you think that shooting someone dead will not result in some sort of police investigation? How is that?
But all the other shit George Zimmerman's done just proves he's psychotic. It really does.
Yeah. And not just that, but he's subsequently gone to court several other times for racist shit. He's a violent madman. He shouldn't be free. Anyway.
We didn't have any of this under Bush. We didn't have, this country has changed so much.
No, you didn't have any of that under Bush, but I'll tell you what you did have: the largest mass murdering that ever occurred in the history of US. On 9/11. That happened under Bush. Do people forget that?
The largest mass murder was in Antietam in the Civil War. 9/11 came second.
Oh, well, okay. Well, does that count as mass murder? Is that not war casualty?
I don't know. There's some right wing like organizations that label like Antietam at top, then Gettysburg second, then 9/11.
Oh no, well that's that. I mean, that's not what I'm.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference there. I would argue between war casualties and mass murder. I think that's a difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. Obviously, the Civil War was the most bloody war America ever took part in, wasn't it? I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Horrific, but that's not mass murder. That's war.
Yeah, no, but
I don't want to belittle the experience of the American people.
A lot of really right wing think tanks label the Civil War battles as mass murder. Some weird reason.
Because they're pricks.
Exactly.
Who don't know what mass murder means. Clearly.
That's almost unrecognizable. So anyone who claims that there's no difference between the left and the right is completely insane. I'm not arguing again.
People are arguing that.
I don't know. I think you're in the comic section.
Yeah, basically, yeah. People stupid enough to listen to this prick's videos, yeah.
Toxic. The left has been so toxic during Obama's tenure that there's no way you can claim that the left and the right are the same with a straight face. Or the SJW menace. The SJW menace did not exist under Bush. It blossomed under Obama. There's a huge difference there. And additionally, the men's rights movement trying to build a bridge between the left and the right doesn't work for the simple reason that they've been trying to argue that feminism is not truly part of the left. They're just some alien group that has no connection to anything. Or they try to equate, say, this is common in the MGTOW circles as well, trying to claim that traditionalists or trad.
I share his disdain for the MGTOW, but why is he putting that in inverted commas? That's what they're fucking called.
I'm gonna be right back. Just gonna use the bathroom. Be really quick.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. It seems so strange to me that he would put the MGTOW in inverted commas. That's for things that you think aren't what they claim to be, if that makes sense. But that's what they're called. It's not like they're the Viet Cong who are calling themselves MGTOW. They're MGTOW calling themselves MGTOW. I mean, I disagree with the idea that they've actually gone their own way, because they're clearly not. They do, like they go, we've abandoned women, except that that's all they ever talk about. So clearly they haven't gone their own fucking way at all. But there you go. Anyway, I really don't know what to say when Matt goes on one of his piss runs. To be honest, I don't know what else to say. I should have I'll tell you what I should do. I should put together a list of jokes, like one-liners or whatever. Actually, I've got a book of one-liners somewhere here. I've got the Tim Vine joke book. Let's have a look what we got.
Oh, I'm back.
So I saw a bongo drum holding a pair of binoculars. He was a peeping tom-tom. Boom.
Where? Anyway. You had a peeping tom in your house?
Hey?
What happened to peeping tom?
No, I was trying to fill the void while you were going for a piss. And so I got out the Tim Vine joke book. Tim Vine's a British comedian who does one-liners. And so the joke was, I saw a drum with a pair of binoculars. He was a peeping tom-tom.
Back to this
one-liner. There you go. It's better than my fucking joke. So.
Yes. You always see these prominent feminist figures graduating to work for leftist organs. They
organs
work for
leftist organs, yeah, exactly. Communist livers. That's what happens.
Left-wing political candidates, for example, Jessica Valenti of Feministing, started working for the Guardian, which is
Isn't Mirrors of the Guardian like getting just really just off with the articles lately?
Yeah, it's. I don't know quite what's happened to it. I think it's since because it used to be a broadsheet and now it's a compact, which is basically like a slightly upgraded version of a fucking tabloid. And so it's gone down that tabloidy line of
I know, yeah.
Shit. And it's a shame because I mean I agree with him. Jessica Valenti not only is a poor writer, but isn't a particularly great feminist either. It seems. But,
yeah. Her book's okay though. Like I've read it. Her what was her book that came out this year called again?
I have no idea. I've only ever read her in the Guardian. Maybe her book's brilliant, but I don't know.
It's okay. Like I like it, but I'm not gonna read it again. I sold it after I read it.
Okay.
Lindy West, Jezebel, went to work for the Guardian, went to work for GQ, which has also been subverted by the left. I'm lost, but it gets funnier.
Okay.
She was a campaign advisor to John Edwards, the Democrat who ran for president in 2008.
I like the fact that
when he said John Edwards, I wanted to hear dun dun dun. Like he said that like you're saying Hitler or something. John Edwards, for fuck's sake.
Really, like this guy's a PUA. What person want to get picked up by this guy?
And not just that, but John Edwards, didn't he? Was it his wife had cancer and he impregnated another woman? Isn't that like the PA thing? Shouldn't he like John Edwards?
Claim that the feminism is not part of the left. You can't separate the feminism from the left. Okay, you can't separate them.
You clearly don't know the old trade unionist movement in Britain, then, because I assure you it was very patriarchal.
It's weird. Like I consider Ayn Rand a weird way to be a feminist in some weird instances. Did you hear what I said?
No, sorry, go on.
Oh, I just a lot of weird, like in my mind, in a lot of instances, I consider Ayn Rand to be a feminist in the way that she like broke the barrier for women at the time, but yet she's really.
I see what you mean. I would describe her not necessarily as a feminist, but as like a groundbreaker, certainly.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
In order to be taken in or to be taken on by so many incredibly misogynist people as a female of intellect and all the rest of it, she must have had something going for her. I just disagree with her enormously.
Totally.
Yeah.
Separate white from my skin. They are one and the same. If you're fighting feminism, you're fighting the left. And if you claim to be beyond left and right, or you claim that the quote-unquote traditionalists, I've never met any of these so-called...
It took him 4 attempts to say the word traditionalist. Help but feel, right? Like, my videos are shit, right? I know that. But, like... He's got a relatively sort of popular blog and stuff. He can afford a proper camera and white balance. Because right now, me and him are not the same race. He's fucking pink.
About where do they exist? Can you name some major legislative accomplishment they've done? I mean, can you point out to how you're being oppressed by these supposed people? So far as I can tell, the Republican Party is owned by corporate interests that. And the only firm positions they take on anything are that which benefits their donor class. You know, we've gotten to the point where, like for example, the right, for example, isn't even trying to get rid of abortion anymore. Now they just try to restrict it. You know, they keep conceding more and more ground to the left, and the left keeps advancing. And you're going to claim that these so-called traditionalists are as a big a threat to you as a feminist? Wake up and smell the fucking lube, folks. Okay. The so-called traditionalists, the so-called tradcons, they don't exist except in your fevered head. And those notions were put in you by leftist subverters like Dean Esme.
A leftist. He's not even a centrist anymore. He's now a leftist. This is the thing. These fucking people. These words are just utterly interchangeable. I found this with O'Reilly, again, another one of his fucking acolytes. These alt-right pricks. And basically, he uses the word liberal, communist, socialist, Marxist, all totally interchangeable, as if they're the same fucking thing.
That's weird, Arini. And these guys are like Forney and Roosh and all the Puas. They always go on about socialism, but like they're right now in the last few days have been really going after libertarian leftists, and like.
But yeah, I don't know. I just
it's so bizarre.
Well, that's their whole thing, basically. I mean, I with these people, I don't quite know what their end goal is. Partly because they don't really know what their end goal is. Which is fine. I mean, you don't have to have all the answers, but you have to have some vague idea of what that might be. Surely.
This is why you do not ever trust a centrist, or you don't ever trust a someone who refuses to identify themselves politically. Because if they're not overtly left, if they're not already secretly left. That's what happens. That's what happens. The left works through subterfuge and subversion. They don't overtly claim that they're going to take over something. They infiltrate. Says
the man who literally infiltrated Black Lives Matter protests.
Exactly.
By shouting Black Power.
Exactly.
They infiltrate.
I'd love to have seen the look on those black people's faces when this obviously right-wing white prick went Black Power. Like, it was so pathetic.
Turn them towards the left. That's how Vice became leftist. That's how GQ became leftist.
Vice was always leftist. Not anything good leftist.
Basically, yeah.
How ESPN became leftist.
Well, oh my God, ESPN is so right wing. Like,
I can't really speak to ESPN. We don't. Well, we get ESPN America here, but that's literally just they show us live like baseball and stuff. It doesn't give you any political leaning at all.
No, because ESPN America, like in America, like Canada, they do like political news shows. They're just god awful.
Oh, okay. Oh, we don't get that here.
It's O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's Law says that any organization that's not explicitly right-wing will eventually become left-wing. That's what happened to A Voice for Cucks, A Voice for Mankind. They refused to identify with the right, even though it was the left that was attacking them always. It was the left who was accusing them of being a hate group. It was the left who was allying with, it was left-wing feminists who were attacking them. And as a result, they've become a left-wing organization. They become neutered, thanks to people like Dean Esme. And as a result, you've got them now, attacking the alt-right. And again, you see all these apolitical people, these so-called centrists claim I dish it out on the left and the right equally. Yet you never see them attacking the left in the same way they attack the right. Esme and Paul Elam are doing a goddamn live stream on how evil the alt-right is and how evil Roosh and Ramsey Paul are. You never see them giving that treatment to the left. You never see them giving
God. There's a live stream out there where I probably agree with fucking Paul Elam. That's worrying.
To cultural Marxists. No, it's always
cultural Marxists. Ding, ding, ding. We've got bingo. They've used every single shit phrase in the book.
Always directed towards the right. This is why you should never, ever trust centrists, okay? I'm not saying disavow them entirely, or here's another example: the so-called cultural libertarian phenomenon. Cultural libertarianism is a fake label. Okay, cultural libertarians are just leftists who can't abandon their leftism. Because guess what? If you were really a libertarian, you would not call yourself a cultural libertarian. You'd call yourself a libertarian straight up, or a conservative. It's a label used by people like Sargon of Akkad who don't want to. Who've been shanked in the back by the left, the SJW feminist left, but they don't want to leave it. They're like, I can't leave.
We've shanked him. He's done nothing but, well, not even, if he was just criticising, that would be one thing, but he's done nothing but try and smear us in shit for fucking years. What do you mean we shanked? He was never part of us. Fuck off.
And in some weird instances, you could argue that Thunderfoot at one point, before he went anti-feminist, was on the left.
Well, to a degree.
Way back, like 2004, 2005.
No, I don't think I was around then, to be honest.
This sort of relationship a battered wife has to her abusive husband. So the cultural libertarian label is just a way for leftists who've been abandoned by the Overton window to try and continue to be leftists, but deny it. Or the same thing with the left libertarian bullshit. Again, if Aaron Clark did a good video on this recently, there's a link to it in the description. But basically, if you're a so-called libertarian,
Aaron Clary's never done a good video. Aaron Clary never did a good video.
Never.
Or consider voting for Bernie Sanders or any left-wing candidate, you're not a libertarian. You're a socialist. You believe in state power. You believe
those are the only two options. You're either a libertarian or a socialist. There's no other position, apparently.
I don't.
You believe in taking away people's freedoms. If you believe in freedom, you will never vote for a Democrat. You would never vote for Bernie Sanders. You would never vote for any candidate any politician who wants to expand government power. So those are my thoughts on centrists. Never trust.
Because governments have never protected any freedoms whatsoever.
Exactly.
To sort of go by Sullivan's Law, the way to keep people like Dean Esme out of your organization is to explicitly declare it right wing. Okay, this is I have an article I wrote about a year ago for this on Return of Kings, which I sort of outlined why sort of Return of Kings and at the time its sister site Reaction were immune to this sort of subversion because Roosh laid out a statement of principles almost immediately upon starting the site. Principles that place the site firmly on the right wing in a way.
Has any of the last two sentences made any sense to anyone?
No.
He was rambling.
And in the case of Reaction, we explicitly stated that we would not hire any female writers. These sorts of...
Which is, surely that's illegal.
Yeah.
Keep subverters out because they realize, because they know they have no place there. Unless you agree with the principles of unless you agree with Return of Kings mission statement, you're not going to be writing for Return of Kings. Unless you agree with the mission statement of the alternative right or Radix or Right On, you're not going to be, or Countercurrents, you're not going to be writing for these organizations. So it's not perfect.
But there are some women who do agree with them. So you're only saying they can't write for you because you're a misogynist prick. Because there are women who agree with that.
Did you see the photo of viral on around it was on message boards and Tumblr of Matt Forney like with some random woman in a bar with his arm like hovering over her shoulder.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, the sign of a confident alpha male or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's so awkward. It's so unbelievably awkward.
That would be, and and again, centrism. Don't ever trust centrists because anyone who claims to be, I forgot who said this quote, but moderation is not a political position; it's the absence of a political position. Moderates and centrists.
Well, that's untrue. I mean, that's just demonstrably unfucking true. I don't even know where to begin with that I'll tell you who came up with that. Some fucking idiot, clearly.
Yep.
Because the wind's been blowing left, they end up going left. And watch, and with Donald Trump in the ascendancy and the alternative right taking center stage, they're going to start going right. They're going to start. You're going to start seeing people like Sargon Akkad talking in racialist terms. And
Disney already.
Yeah, I already did a video about his fucking nonsense. He was upset, and thankfully, it's now come to fruition. He was upset that Idris Elba, the black British actor, was going to play the gunslinger or whatever in the Stephen King movie, and he has now officially been cast as that. And I was thinking about doing like just a celebratory thing and then saying "fuck you, Sargon" or something, but I've decided not to bother now because I can't be asked, and I don't think people will remember.
Pretending that they're on the right all along, To paraphrase John Maynard Keynes, anyone who claims to be beyond ideology or claims to be that there's no difference between the left and the right is usually the slave of a dead Marxist. Okay, moderates.
It's interesting that he would quote Keynes as a libertarian. That's interesting.
It's
which I mean, totally self-unaware, but you know.
I've been reading a lot of Keynes' work lately. A lot of it.
Well, I don't know quite why they have such a hatred of him. Because I read a lot of his stuff, and it's quite impressive, actually.
Keynes advocates everything Marx does, but without authoritative revolution.
In essence, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're subverters at worst. Don't let them into the organizations. Don't give them power. Don't trust them, and don't rely on them to have your back in a fight. And then I'll conclude this video.
Why do you trust this prick in a fight?
Campaign to go to Iowa at the end of this month to cover the caucuses.
Returning apparently he's returning Keynes is sending this schmuck as a reporter to the Iowa caucus.
Oh wow! Oh god! I didn't think anything could reduce Return of Kings in my estimation, but yeah, learning of that has made me think even less of them, and I already thought nothing of them. So they're now in minus territory.
I forget how to pronounce this guy's name. He's pretty big on YouTube. I've talked to him a few times. It's like, do you know? You probably I can't pronounce his name. I'm gonna slaughter it. Like this guy. You seen him before?
No.
Sod? What?
Sod.
Yeah, Sod. Yeah, it's like Sod something. That's his name. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know him.
Hi, everybody. This is God Sad for the Sad Truth. The first apartment that I moved into in Montreal after returning to Montreal, having finished my PhD, was in an area that historically has been known to have a lot of Hasidic Jews in it. And so I remember when I would walk around on the street, I would often be accosted on Friday nights or on Saturday by various Hasidic men who would be trying to ask me to come into their house to do a certain be permitted according to Shabbat laws.
I love that. I love the idea that in this area, all the non-Jews get accosted in order to do little tasks for Hasidic Jews on Fridays.
Yeah, it happens to many.
That's beautiful. And also, I love the. I won't say it's particularly well researched or anything, but the film Religulous, the Bill Maher thing, where he goes to Israel, and it's like this technology firm are finding ways of trying to get around those rules. And Bill Maher just says to him, "Do you think God hasn't worked all this out? Why are you trying to trick God? Like, he wrote those rules because he doesn't want you to work on the Sabbath, not because he wants you to come up with creative ways around it.
Treat rather than being, catcalled, as might a woman be subjected to if she, say, passes by a stereotypical construction site. I would be, quote, catcalled by these Hasidic men asking me to perform some sort of, Sabbath violation. Of course, they didn't know that I was Jewish. So after a while, when I realized what was happening, as I would be asked to stop to speak to them, I wouldn't even look at them and say, I'm Jewish, and kind of keep walking, waving them off. And they would say, oh, sorry, we didn't know you're Jewish. Because, of course, they can't ask a fellow Jew to violate the Sabbath. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because I want to contextualize this term that we constantly keep hearing when it comes to certain geopolitical realities. Are these Jews in question radical Jews? Are they extremist Jews? Are they militant Jews? Or are they observant Jews, meaning that the difference between them and me, other than the clothes that they wear, is in their level of observance. I mean, there are other differences, of course, but it's not as though they subscribe to some radical Judaism, right? So the fact that they adhere to kosher laws or to Shabbat rules is not because they adhere to extremist Judaism, whereas I adhere to some other set of religious doctrines, say gentle, soft Judaism. No, I simply choose to not abide by the Sabbath, even though it is something that is expected within Jewish doctrines. I don't adhere to all.
I know sort of where he's going with that, and I agree to a certain extent, but I also sort of disagree. This works for all people of all religions, basically, that, yes, by and large, I've got no problem if you want to live by Hasidic rules, as long as you're not being a bigoted prick and like keeping women down or treating other religions as lower or whatever, then I've got no problem. You want to eat kosher food, as long as it's prepared humanely and all the rest of it, fine, you go for it. And the same with Muslims and Christians and whoever. But ultimately, it's not that they're being extreme, but you are being softer, in essence, because you're cherry picking bits that suit your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that is what's happening there. To try and get around that by saying, "Oh, we're all Jews, or we're all Muslims, or we're all Catholics, or whatever." If you're not following the fucking rules, you're being softer. I mean, I don't know how else you can put a different word to it, but it doesn't change what it is.
I guess sacrilegious is a good word to put it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not. Yeah, that's the thing. If you've just openly admitted that it's called for in your rules to do X, and you refuse to do X, I wouldn't be looking forward to Judgment Day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kosher laws, even though that's what Judaism expects. So what differentiates the Israeli secular commando who puts his life on the line to defend his country, so he's Jewish, but he doesn't keep the Sabbath, he doesn't keep kosher. Is he the gentle, non-extremist Jew, whereas the Hasidic Jew who lives in Jerusalem is the extremist radical Jew, but he doesn't take up arms? No, these are silly qualifiers.
No, that's conflation. Someone who's in the armed forces does not necessarily, that's not extreme. You're in the armed services. Now, again, without getting into the politics, because for those who are, I've addressed this before, I don't want to even really opine on Israel-Palestine because there's no sensible debate to be had, frankly. All it ends up being is a shouting match. And nothing good gets, no solution comes of it, no resolution, I should say, comes of it or anything. So let's just focus on the fact that he's talking about a member of the armed services. That's not an extremist. That's someone doing a job, which is an extreme job, unfortunately, but it does have to be done. That's not what's being meant there, is it? The use of the word extreme, I think, is wrong, unless you're talking about an actual fucking terrorist or something. The use of the word extreme is wrong, but ultimately you're just being more hardline in terms of doctrine. That's got nothing to do with That's got nothing to do with whether you're in the fucking armed services or not. That's a really nonsense piece of conflation.
He then conflates. He then in the rest of the video, I don't really want to watch the rest of it, saying of these Muslims who are more observant than others are very extreme compared to terrorists, like or terrorist militant or not. You get what he's basically saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I have one last video I want to get done, and then we're gonna have kind of like an exit out. Like I want to also include a conversation to end this video, this podcast about some other stuff on immediately.
Cool.
I felt like I had to play this Ramsey Paul video because this was just fucking like ridiculous.
We should do like a Ramsey Paul bit every time because he's just a fucking. He's basically like a spring, but instead of clean water, it's shit coming up.
Yep. Here we go.
Hey guys, most of you know me, and I don't have a little flag pin here. And I know that's required with the politicians, but it's stupid because that's not what it means to be an American. My family's been literally in this country, did my genealogy in America since the 1600s. So,
which is a weird reason. A video 2 months ago, he said he was an immigrant from Romania. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and also if your family have only been there since the 1600s, you're not native to those lands, clearly. And that's fine. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that people like white people have to leave. But if white people are going to go on about our land, and yet you've only been in there since the 20s, it's not your fucking land, is it, really? But anyway.
Right. And they had the State of the Union address, which is Obama, the Democrat. But then the Republican response was this Nikki girl, and she basically agrees with him. She agrees her vision of the United States is just a dumping ground. Everyone in the world can come to the United States. It doesn't mean anything.
Including Romanian pricks, clearly.
What did you say?
I said including Romanian pricks as well, clearly. And that's not having to go at Romanians. I'm saying he's the Romanian prick in this instance.
I know.
Just a hodgepodge. There's no anything that ties us together. And it's just geographic boundaries.
Yeah, there is. What unites America is you're from everywhere.
I know.
You're a delightfully mongrel nation, and you should be proud of it.
Country, my blood that literally fought in the Revolutionary War, they created the Constitution for their posterity.
You mean the Revolutionary War, which was technically high treason? Do you mean that war? Yeah. I'm joking, by the way. There, I agree with American independence. That's just a piece of British humour.
United, but right now we're not united. The State of the Union is divided more than ever before. And yeah, it was cute that Obama had that little Syrian boy on. I mean, it's nice propaganda. He used him as a prop. But as we've seen in Germany and Cologne, they're not little sweet little kids, right? They're mostly 80-90% young.
There's a book on his shelf called Women.
What?
There's a book on his shelf just called Women.
I know.
That sounds fascinating. I wonder what it's about.
Women.
And the Gulag Archipelago, obviously.
That went around raping women. Meanwhile, the feminists are covering this.
No. Ramsey, you did this as well, mate. You do this with every other white person who gets accused of rape. They were allegedly raping people.
Allegedly.
You can't just believe these women. What, you expect us to just listen and believe? Why don't you fuck off to your safe space, you cunt?
I'm actually having a interesting topic. I have I'll say it later. It's an interesting video about the alt-right coming up tomorrow on my channel.
Cool.
That's their vision. And how do you vet them? Like Nikki says, well, we vet them. What are you going to say? Are you going to rape our women? No. It's stupid, right? It's stupid. No. I have nothing against those people, but they need to stay in their own countries. That's why we have countries. And we as the alt-right, if I'm doing this as a State of the Union address, we're saying our primary issue is identity, that we need to protect our borders. That's what we're about. And getting excited about, I guess Republicans want a lower tax rate than Obama. If we're so far beyond that, that doesn't matter. I think most of us realize we're in a serious situation. Germany's in a life and death struggle. We could be in that situation now too. If Hillary gets in, she'll be importing millions of these refugees.
I'm sorry, I have to tackle that propaganda. Germany is not in a life and death struggle. Germany is one of the most prosperous nations in Europe. Now, okay, admittedly, they're up against some very, very unprosperous nations at the moment, but they're still pretty much at the top of that tree. And in terms of continental Europe, Britain's a sort of a different matter. But in terms of continental Europe, it's basically the only thing keeping the EU together right now.
I know. Which makes me
it's so not in a fucking struggle in that sense at all. And I know what he means. He means like a racial sense. But Germany already tried to do the whole racial struggle thing. It didn't work out very well for them.
I was saying, like, it's making me very nervous, the fact that Mein Kampf is flying off the shelves the way it is in Germany.
Well, we'll get onto that, I'm sure, in a moment, because we were going to talk about that with Sargon, but he was too busy, but still fucking managed to find out that I had the wrong fucking link.
Do you guys want that? I don't think we want that. We want a safe and secure future for our families, and that's what the alt-right is about.
Just white people. Just white people.
Yeah, we're for the worker. We want to keep out refugees or other people to help the jobs. And one of the things I would do is if the corporations export jobs to overseas, they should be taxed the amount of difference in labor because they're
whoa. Are you arguing for a planned economy there? That seems very
I've talked to Ramsey Paul in email. He said he was identifies as a Strasserist.
What the fuck?
Do you know who Strasser is, right? Strasser is?
So some Germanic person, I don't know who.
When Hitler and the SS, when capitalistic Strasser and his group went to the east, east area of Germany, not east Berlin, but they went like eastward and they made this like national. They're basically when the SS and Hitler.
East Prussia.
Yeah, no, they went to Prussia and they went to Prussia and Strassers are anti-capitalist white nationalists.
Okay. Well, that's why the fuck would you openly admit to being a Strasserist then? That's very strange.
I'm not.
Oh no, I know you're not, but I'm saying why would any human being with clearly he does have at least 2 firing synapses in his brain because he can talk. Why the fuck would anyone admit to that? That's really strange.
And the money's going overseas. That's what other countries do. So immediately they should be fined and have to pay the difference. And that would stop it overnight. They'd have to dump all this offshore labor. The jobs would come back to the United States. How does that sound? How about foreign policy?
Hang on. Whoa. So you would illegally, retroactively impose that tax for things that have already happened, even though that law didn't exist, which is a fundamental violation of international law.
I know.
Ridiculous. These people live in a fantasy land where you can just do anything. You can't do these things unless you literally become the fascist dictator you supposedly oppose. Ridiculous.
None of their countries. I have nothing against Israel, but why do we need to fight?
Yeah, you know. You know.
Anytime someone starts with "I've got nothing against Israel," you know some anti-Semitic shit's coming. And that's, by the way, I'm not saying everyone who speaks out against Israel is anti-Semitic. But it's the "I'm racist," but basically.
Why do we want to have to fight with Iran or whatever other country? We don't. We can be friends with Russia. We should be friends with countries. We should pull our troops out of here.
We should be friends with Russia, which is a fucking dictatorship, which brutally suppresses its own people and has slaughtered fucking tens of thousands in Chechnya. It's ridiculous. No, we shouldn't be fucking friends with these people. Well, no, so with the government, not the Russian people.
That's the reason you have an army, to protect our people. This is the alt-right state of the union. Compare this to the official GOP version, and you can see why Trump is leading in the polls. God bless and good night.
Did you at all read Owen Jones's article about Donald Trump yesterday?
I didn't know, but I'm very fond of Jones. I think he's a superb. He writes for The Guardian, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Superb young writer.
So now I'm really moving to the point about what I want to get started on here, but apparently he's too busy, quote unquote. Wink, wink. I just feel like the publishing Mein Kampf in this day and age with the problems of economic problems in Europe, Germany being on top money-wise, and then the Syrian refugee problems, and publishing Mein Kampf is just a bad idea all the way around.
Well, I have to say I slightly disagree with you. I think this is Potentially, I mean, it might be the wrong moment in the sense that it's come at an unfortunate moment, but it had to come eventually anyway, and possibly should have come before now. Although with the reunification not that far back, and the problems certainly, for instance, the economy of Germany is pretty good, but in the east is still pretty shit. It's just that the western part of Germany is significantly better, that it bumps it up, if that makes sense. It sort of makes up for how shit the economy of what was the old Eastern Europe, Eastern Germany. Was or is. So there are still problems there, but it's a watershed moment for Germany because, for obvious reasons, it's been very reticent, even to this day, say with foreign policy, of going to war, just because it's so scared of its past. Understandably, it's the most horrific period in human history. Thankfully, blessedly, short period, but the most destructive war that was ever known, the most horrific industrialized slaughter that humanity's ever produced. A shameful, truly shameful.
The reason I want to get Sargon on here is because Sargon always goes about like, I defend your right to say whatever you want and speak whatever you want, even though I find it appalling. He did it with Rushvi. He did it with I can't remember who else. Buhar Mustafa. But would he do it with Mein Kampf, with the evil that comes behind with the history of that book?
Well, I think it's worth putting in the caveat that it was never banned in Germany. You could always pick up second-hand copies of it, for instance.
Yeah.
It's just that they weren't printing and selling brand new copies, and even then, these brand new copies are strictly limited to the one publishing company. And in that book, shut up, Rory Cat. I'm being squeaked at by a cat. I apologise. With the critical notation bit to the. Someone else has joined us.
I don't know how.
There you go. Anyway, with a critical notes bit where they've essentially written, a passage will be written and then it will say, here is the reason why X, Y, and Z, and so basically, it, like baby steps, walks you through the book with this critical analysis bit in it. So you're not going to get just a copy, as you can say in Britain or in America. But I think it is important that the people of Germany are active, because ultimately, especially in the internet age, you can't censor things in the way that maybe you once could. People, if young Germans, in the same way that when you try and deny a child, when you say to a child, you can't have this or you can't do this, they immediately want to go and do it. So when a young German who's told you can't read Mein Kampf, instantly they're going to want to go and read it, and they're going to think to themselves that this is something explicit. This is something which the establishment does not want me to have hold of. And within inside every teenager, there's a little revolutionary prick, and unfortunately, enough of them get sucked in. And what you mustn't do is create an aura of sexiness around a book by trying to subdue it, if that makes sense. So I actually agree, even though the timing is not great, but I mean it's been planned for a while now. It's just unfortunate that the rape thing had happened in Cologne and the whole EU refugee crisis from Syria and elsewhere. So the timing's unfortunate, but I think it's a huge step forward for Germany, and it's something that had to happen eventually anyway. It's sort of a watershed moment for a blossoming young Germany.
And I think that's a good place to end it. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.